In the months following the shocking murders of their parents, Lyle and Erik Menendez stunned everyone with their behavior. Instead of retreating into grief, the brothers spent nearly $1 million in a matter of months, lavishing money on luxury watches, flashy sports cars, and extravagant trips. They shopped in the most exclusive boutiques, dined at high-end restaurants, and traveled first class, as if trying to fill a void with material things. To investigators, this spree looked less like mourning and more like a celebration. It was the first glaring clue that something was deeply wrong beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect family. Detectives began to question the brothers' motives and the true nature of their loss. On the outside, the Menendez brothers appeared to be the privileged sons of a powerful Hollywood executive, living in a sprawling Beverly Hills mansion surrounded by luxury and comfort. Their lives seemed like a dream, one that many envied. But behind those grand doors, the reality was far darker. The family was ruled by fear, intimidation, and a web of secrets. The golden life everyone saw from the outside was, in truth, a gilded cage, one that trapped the brothers in silence and pain. This stark contrast between their glamorous public image and the private torment they endured would soon erupt, capturing the nation's attention and exploding into one of America's most infamous and sensational crime stories. August 20th, 1989. A quiet Sunday night in Beverly Hills, the kind of evening when nothing seems out of the ordinary. The streets were calm, the air still, and most families were winding down for the night, unaware that a tragedy was about to unfold that would shock the nation. Inside their lavish home, Jose and Kitty Menendez were enjoying a peaceful night together, perhaps watching television or simply talking about their day. The Menendez family seemed picture-perfect from the outside, living the American dream in one of the country's wealthiest neighborhoods. But beneath the surface, something dark was brewing. Unbeknownst to Jose and Kitty, their sons, Lyle and Erik, had just purchased shotguns earlier that day, setting in motion a plan that would forever change their lives. That night, Lyle and Erik entered the house armed and determined. In a matter of moments, they unleashed a brutal attack, firing multiple shots at their parents. The violence was swift and merciless. Jose and Kitty had no chance to escape or defend themselves. After the shooting, the brothers quickly tried to cover their tracks. They wiped down the weapons, disposed of incriminating evidence in a nearby dumpster, and rehearsed their story. Only then did they call 911, their voices filled with apparent panic and grief as they reported the horrific scene. When police arrived, they found no signs of forced entry or robbery. The scene was chaotic, but the level of violence suggested something deeply personal. Rage, not a random act. Broken family photos hinted at a shattered home life. In the days that followed, Lyle and Erik played the role of grieving sons, but their behavior soon raised suspicions. Instead of mourning, they began spending large sums of money, buying luxury cars, expensive watches, and indulging in a lavish lifestyle. Detectives started to dig deeper, following the trail of money and inconsistencies in the brothers' stories. The more they uncovered, the more it seemed that the killers might not be strangers at all, but the very sons who claimed to have discovered the bodies. As the investigation intensified, all evidence began to point in one direction. The trail was leading straight to Lyle and Erik Menendez, setting the stage for one of the most infamous trials in American history. The case broke when Erik confessed to his psychologist, evidence that led to the brothers' arrest. The first trial, broadcast live, gripped the nation. Prosecutors said it was murder for money. The defense claimed years of horrific abuse drove the brothers to kill in fear. The public was divided. Were they cold-blooded killers or traumatized victims? The first juries deadlocked, unable to agree on motive. In the second trial, abuse evidence was limited. The prosecution called the brothers' story a lie. Both were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. The Menendez brothers' fate seemed sealed. For more than 3 decades, Lyle and Erik Menendez faded from the public eye, each serving out life sentences in separate, high-security prisons. Their days blurred together in a routine of confinement, isolation, and reflection, far removed from the sensational headlines that once dominated the news. In 2018, after years apart, the brothers were finally reunited in the same facility, a rare moment of comfort in an otherwise bleak existence. Around the same time, their story found new life online. A younger generation discovering the case through social media and viral videos reignited passionate debates about trauma, justice, and whether the brothers deserved a second chance. As public interest swelled, supporters organized rallies and petitions, calling for a review of the Menendez case. In 2024, after years of good behavior and growing advocacy, the district attorney made a surprising recommendation. The brothers should be resentenced, opening the door to a possible release. In May 2025, a judge officially declared Lyle and Erik eligible for parole, a decision that sent waves of hope through their supporters and families. For the first time in decades, the possibility of freedom seemed within reach. At the parole hearing, both brothers spoke candidly about their remorse and the lessons learned during their long incarceration. They expressed deep regret for their actions and described their efforts to rehabilitate. Yet, despite their words and the support from outside, the parole board ultimately denied their release, citing recent minor prison violations and lingering doubts about their rehabilitation. The hope of freedom, so close just days before, was quickly dashed. Disappointment and frustration settled in, both for the brothers and for those who had championed their cause. The gates that had briefly opened to the possibility of a new life slammed shut again, echoing through the halls of the prison. For now, the Menendez brothers remain behind bars, their future uncertain. But the conversation about their fate and the meaning of justice continues. After parole denial, the brothers' legal team filed for a new trial, citing new evidence of Jose Menendez's alleged abuse from another victim and a letter from Erik. The judge ruled the evidence wasn't strong enough to overturn the conviction. As of Christmas 2025, Lyle and Erik remain in prison, with their next parole chance years away. Their last hope is a clemency petition with the governor, a long shot. The Menendez saga endures. Were they monsters or broken sons? The truth remains murky, and the debate continues. For more on this and other stories, subscribe to our newsletter.